All right, so today we're going to start by just reviewing some of the information from the first book from yesterday, Growing a Giant Pumpkin. So writers have different ways that they show that time has passed, and often it's very important to understanding the book. Read the second paragraph on page 3. Okay, so open up to page 3 and read the second paragraph. You should pause the video now. All right, after reading the second paragraph on page 3, think about how does the writer show that time has passed? Pause the video now. Also look in your Google form and make sure that you're answering the questions as we go along. So notice how the writer specifically says, but 14 years later, Christy grew a pumpkin that got the world's attention. So these words, 14 years later, tell the reader that not only that time has passed, but you can infer or make a guess that Christy has kept growing pumpkins over the years. So year after year, she keeps growing pumpkins. And it helps you understand that Christy liked growing pumpkins and grew them for a long time. All right, so look back now at page 15. Okay, so open your book up. If you need to pause to open up to page 15, that's okay. It is interesting that Ian and Stuart chose the most promising pumpkins and cut the others off the vine. Read the passage and think about why they did that, as well as the meaning of the word nutrition. So pause now, okay? Think about why they cut the vine and the meaning of the word nutrients. So again, following along in your Google form. Okay, make sure you're answering the question about what is the meaning of the word nutrients. All right. A nutrient is something that's healthy and nourishing. So this should be after you've responded in your Google form. Okay, and a nutrient is something that's healthy and nourishing like food. On page 16, if we go, the author mentions potassium and calcium. The nutrients for the pumpkin are soaked up by the vine, cutting off all but one pumpkin. Ian and Stuart ensure that their biggest pumpkin would get all the food and all the nutrients. So they cut off all of the other pumpkins so that their one big pumpkin could get all of the nutrients and food. So we have two words, nutrients and nutrition. So following along right now in your Google form, what does the word nutritious mean? So what does the word nutritious mean? Pause the video now. Make sure that you're following along in the Google form. So once you've answered the Google form, nutrients and nutritious are related words, and they both refer to something good for people, animals, or plants. So we have two words that look the same and they are related. Alrighty. I believe that's all that we have for that one. If you would like, go ahead and pull up your next book. Double check that you've answered all the questions on the Google form. Your next book is Getting Even with Stephen. So today you will read a realistic fiction story titled Getting Even with Stephen. Have you ever known somebody who tries to be funny all the time, telling silly jokes and making noises? So answer in your Google form. Sometimes a person like that is called the class clown, and that means that he or she is the funniest person in the class. Okay, obviously something you've heard of before. In this book, a girl is telling a story about Stephen Price, who is the class clown. You see the girl on the cover. She looks like she's thinking. The girl is very annoyed with Stephen. If you look at page 3, so open up in page 3, okay, that's the kind of thing Stephen does based on the title, okay, and what you already know about the book. The girl and Stephen, do you think you know what is going to happen? Okay, so go ahead, answer question 1 under Getting Even with Stephen in your Google form. You'll read all about several tricks Stephen plays on the girl. Think about whether you would think he was funny or you would find him annoying like the girl does. Look at how the writer tells the story. Now open up to page 4. Okay, so open up to page 4. If you need to pause, you can pause. Read the first paragraph on page 4, and I will read it aloud if you follow along in your book. On Monday, we were studying measurement. Stephen asked me to help him measure part of the hallway for his project. I told him I was busy figuring out the area all the pages in our math book would cover in square feet. Okay. What do you notice about the writing? So just take a minute, talk with your partner. What do you notice about the writing? So the writer, Susan Blackby, is telling the story in first person. That means the narrator is a character in the story who is telling the story using I, we, and me. In the story, who is the narrator? So who is the narrator? Respond in your Google form. First person sometimes makes it feel like something that really happened even though it was fiction. So even though this is fake, sometimes when you're reading something in first person and it's like first person means it's in a way that the person telling the story has also experienced the story. Sometimes it can make the story seem real. All right, look at page 9. Notice how page 9 starts. So what does that tell you on page 9, how it starts? Answer in your Google form. You can talk to your partner. Pause the movie now if you need to. All right, as you read, I would like you to notice how the time is passing. Also notice how the girl uses Stephen's own trickiness against him. You can decide whether she did the right thing or not. Okay, so go ahead. You can read this on your own right now. Make sure you turn in your Google form. Okay, when you're done, and we will talk about this book in small group tomorrow. So go ahead.